Hey yo, welcome back to the channel. It's John. If you ain't already subscribed to the channel so you can stay updated on the new videos. Today we'll be covering the state of international disputes and the chance for escalation of World War III. Because if you guys ain't noticed, it's already started. So let's get into it. What is war? Alright, so most people only see war as militaries fighting with guns or planes, dropping bombs. But sadly, there are many ways to fight a war. Just because you're not in direct conflict doesn't mean you're not at war. Let's cover some different ways wars are fought. Economic war. Some common means of economic warfare are trade embargoes, boycotts, sanctions, tariffs, discrimination, the freezing of capital assets, the suspension of aid, the prohibition of investments, and other capital flows. An example would be the US sanctioning countries that don't align with their beliefs, like the sanctions against Russia, and freezing the assets that are owned by Russian oligarchs. Cyber warfare. The use of computer technology to disrupt the activities of a state or organization, especially the deliberate attacking of information systems for strategic or military purposes. An example could be the use of Pegasus. Developed by the NSO Group, Pegasus is a spyware that harvests the user's data and eavesdrops on mobile phones. It's primarily good for getting valuable information and blackmail. Biological warfare. Biological warfare is the deliberate use of disease-causing biological agents such as bacteria, viruses, and fungi, or their toxins to kill or incapacitate humans, animals, or plants as an act of war. And I'm sure we all know a recent example of this, but it's a controversial topic, so we won't get into it on this video. Conventional warfare. Conventional warfare is a form of warfare conducted by using conventional weapons and battlefield tactics between two or more states in an open confrontation. An example of this is the war between Russia and Ukraine. Humans with guns, tanks, helicopters, all the things you expect. Informational warfare. Information warfare is the battle space use and management of information and communication technology in pursuit of a competitive advantage over an opponent. Now, this can go anywhere from election meddling to a full-blown propaganda war. This is the most common form of warfare as it is used every day, whether it's a government trying to influence the population or two nations trying to get international backing. Informational warfare can be the most effective strategy, sometimes because it targets emotions and shapes perspective to align with that of the one creating the propaganda. And the worst and most feared, last but not least, nuclear warfare. Nuclear warfare, also known as atomic warfare, is a military conflict or prepared political strategy that deploys nuclear weaponry. The nukes are WMDs, so weapons of mass destruction. This type of warfare is the last thing you would want and is in a category of its own when it comes to death and destruction. So tell them hold that button because we are not ready to die yet, because nobody wants no nuclear war. I promise you that's the last thing we all want. Nukes have the potential to end society as we know it. A recent paper in the Washington Post covered a speech given by Russian President Vladimir Putin, where he stated, "They must understand that we also have weapons that can hit targets on their territory." He said, warning of tragic consequences if NATO forces were ever deployed to Ukraine. He goes on by saying, all this really threatens a conflict with the use of nuclear weapons and the destruction of civilization. Don't they get that? If that isn't a reason enough for you to be concerned, then you must not understand the scale of destruction that can be reached through nuclear warfare. We're in a strange time where leaders openly talk about Armageddon, but there is also knowledge in the speech, because in statements like that should have us all thinking how close we are to destruction. Now, with that being said, understanding the different kinds of ways you can fight wars better helps you understand how we can be at war without seeing missiles flying. But if you take a look at current global events with the war in Ukraine and the situation with Palestine and Israel, we're heading straight towards a conventional World War III that moves away from using cyber and informational tactics to all-out gunsmoke, which should be the worst nightmare for us because it's only a matter of time before the first nuke is detonated. But we have the power to make a change. The problem is that the majority won't realize what's happening until it's too late. The interest of corporations and billionaires is overshadowing the right for humans to prosper and let alone live. We have the power to take control, which is why they distract everyone, whether it's dopamine hits on social media or the good old distraction of sports and trending media stories. They bombard us with things non-stop. I've come to realize that the only way forward is to unplug yourself, educate, and don't listen to the news because they're always made with an intention. Social media will take hours of your day away, time you could be using to learn valuable information and making an impact. Get involved with your community because it always starts at the lowest level. They want us to be unconscious while conscious, basically living and consuming but never asking any questions. Ask yourself what you can do today to start making a change, because it's hard to say this, but we could be the ones happily ushering our own destruction. In this video, I just wanted to have a conversation with you guys about how important awareness is. Don't just live life, learn life. Question anything that you don't agree with and question the things that you believe. Ask yourself what value anything you spend your time doing is going to bring back, and if it's worth it. We are in charge of our own lives and our communities. Let's make the biggest change today. And this is to seek knowledge. The first part of the test is knowing the enemy.